You,
Yeah,
you're the
what a
next
compliment.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it is 4 o'clock. We'll just let other people pop on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our Zoom. In fact, this is going to be our last Zoom on Monday. We have other opportunities that are coming up for you. I think Janelle and Amy has sent that out. We are starting a Circle of Life online community for you to join us. We'll have speakers on that as well. So we're not going to leave you hanging, what do they call it? Hanging out, hanging you dry, out to dry, hanging
Right.
out to dry. Isn't that an interesting statement? Like, what does that even mean, Renita?
I don't know. I have no idea. We have all those things. It's important to know, though. That's funny.
So we'll have other exciting things. The online spiritual community is going to be starting at the end of July, going to into January 21st, 2021. And we'll have, again, fantastic speakers and helpers along the way as we connect as a spiritual community. So check that on our website. So we have a lot of good things. So it is an honor and delight to end all of the Zoom things with one of not only my favorite people in the world, but I get to say she is a really good, amazing friend of mine that I encountered a long time. And I'm going to tell this story because I always like to tell the story, Renita. Is how I met Renita is we were giving a peace pole to Kada at the time, and she was there to receive that peace pole in Mankato, Minnesota. And um, and so when we were handing the peace pole to her, it was at Sibley Park, and we had a nice gathering. We were gathering around in a circle. And pretty soon, Renita just looks at me and she kind of looks at the group and she goes, you know what? I don't think I have to read from my notes. I'm just going to sing. And then, what song did you sing, Renita?
I've got a river of life flowing
Yes,
out of me.
yes. So when she sang that song, I almost like dropped the peace pole because I thought, like, holy moly, who is this woman? And I was struck by her love, her passion, her devotion, her articulation, her ability to be kind of unbridled in that energy of saying, I think I'm just going to sing. I think I'm just going to sing. And she did not know it, but at that time, I was absolutely going to go right to the Hope Interfaith Center, and I am going to text her. I'm going to email her. I'm going to write her cards because, and I said to her, I promise you I won't stalk you, but I want you as my friend. I really wanted to cultivate and nurture a friendship with her because I immediately knew that she had this downpouring of the Holy Spirit, this downpouring of the divine feminine, and this downpouring of her internal energetic frequency. And I just thought, those are the type of women I really want in my life. And so it worked because she's my friend. So I'm going to pass it on to you, Renita. Do you want to introduce yourself to the group and tell them who you are, where you are, and what you're doing at this time?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm Renita Robinson, Hope's friend. We met in Mankato, and I do remember her saying that she had said she promised not to stalk me and that she wanted to get to know me. But I remember being captivated by this opportunity to have a relationship with her because she was so real and because there was so much synergy in our relationship. And I remember at the time, like, being super excited when I had opportunities to go meet with her. I'm like, I'm going to see Hope today. And so I met the first couple of times, you know, it's more kind of professional. And so we met in her office the first couple of times, and then we met someplace. And then it just turned really quickly, you know, into a friendship because of the richness of the kind of conversations we would have. It was never long enough, right? And I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, like this is what feeling totally accepted feels like. Like this is what being safe, differently safe than I had ever felt before, really, on many levels in terms of my new relationship with a stranger. But just like the safety that was there, like almost immediately, it compelled me to be a better version of myself. And I remember when I started meeting with Hope, like it gave me permission to just quiet down and listen differently, even the Holy Spirit telling me different things. I had all this new stuff, and I wrote Hope a letter that I was like, it was a few things happened. So I would write you things and say, this is what I'm not doing anymore. Or, hey, guess what? Well, this is what I think. And I recognized that it was just from this energy and this synergy. And so being in relationship with her like that caused me to be in a space where I could start thinking differently about myself and giving myself permission to be excellent, to be amazing, to be beautiful. And so she says that she saw those things in me when she met me. And I think that our relationship really fostered kind of like the development of those things. And so Hope has been just an amazing friend from the time that I met her. I have had several different kind of life-altering things. I always call them opportunities for character development. And she's been right alongside me. And I'm so grateful for you, Hope. Thank you so much. You know, I'm fond of telling people that there's an other side of where you are now. Wherever you are right now, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or whatever, like there's an other side of that. And what I'm excited about is through my friendship with Hope, like I recognize that encouraging people and that kind of thing helps people get from wherever they are to that other side more quickly. Like, and I'm fond of saying you can do anything with friends. And so, like, thank you, Hope, just for who you've been to me and, you know, like who I've become as a result of our friendship, you know, and just like the possibilities that are open because we're friends. And so thank you for having me on your show today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is the reason why it also worked, is because, you know, I read something in our last Zoom that said, come to the open heart. Come with your hearts open. Come with your hearts open. Come with your minds open. Come with your hearts open. Come with your minds open to receive each other in communion, and something might happen there. And we come from very different backgrounds. Renita and I come from very different backgrounds. I also like saying this, as she came from a Baptist spiritual background. And then I had to tell her, which I tell everybody if I somebody, is that I want to know who I am, what I do, and how I hear the Holy Spirit, and how it works through me. And that my background was different than her background. And so every time we would come together, we just had we came open-minded and open-hearted to like fill up with each other, to fill up with each other. And I would tell you, as we continue to go through this time that's so changing, that's so interesting at this time, is that there are a lot of friendships that are moving away, and that you're going to meet other friendships. And Renita always talks about, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about this, Renita, but Renita had talked to me about the 5 closest people in your life. Are the what was that again? Now the 5 closest people in your life are
the 5 people in your life that you spend the most time with. Like basically they're a reflection of who you are, and you may be becoming that because of the amount of time that you spend with them. And that's not novel. I mean, there are several different writers who have talked about just pay attention, look around. Who are the five closest people to you? If those people, when you see them coming, you have you revolt, or there's an aversion to them, like there's probably some of that in you. And that's why you make sure that they're wholesome and that they're good and they're life giving and that kind of thing, because that's who you're going to be. You're going to assimilate some of who they are, whether you like it or not. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I've always loved that. So I began to probably about 3 years ago now, maybe 2 years ago, but I think it's been 3 years ago, that as I grew to understand the circle of influence, especially about the five people you spend the most time with,
Mm-hmm.
especially our women friends, our goddess friends,
Mm-hmm.
um, is that I was starting to watch. 'Cause one of the other things that Renita was talking about is that wherever they are going, that's where they're going. So if they're going downwards, then you are going downwards. One of the things about motorcycle riding is they keep on saying, we went to a class that says, wherever you're looking, that's where you're going. And so it's interesting because if we're with people who are our five closest friends and they are going this way or sideways or downward or up and down, then we're going that in that direction.
Yep.
And so I've met some very powerful women, and when I decided I was going to shake my friendship bottle up and start looking for the five most powerful women that I know that would stay in their stay on. We had this conversation before everybody came. Stay on top of the cake as a as the crowning glory of the truth of who we are.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why I started nurturing this relationship with Renita, is because there was something that was so vivacious and so catchy and so full of aliveness that she's contributed to my life so much. I'm going to say a Black woman and a white woman coming together with an open heart, open mind. Our lives are so enriched by that. And so I tell everybody, don't be afraid to cultivate and nurture new relationships that are filled with vivaciousness and aliveness and that can contribute to your life. You want to speak a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So new and different. I think that, there's not a lot of comfort in difference. And so, but some of the greatest growth occurs in that different and that discomfort. And so I think that our relationship has allowed me to grow because we do come from very different backgrounds. And I used to tell Hope basically that the church that I grew up in and some of my circle of friends would be very concerned about me having a relationship with a spiritual person like Hope, because of whatever reason. And I was uninhibited by that because there was something about me being able really to connect with her heart. Like our hearts connected very quickly, and I loved her quickly, quite frankly. And so I think that it's important just to be paying attention, and not be afraid, because afraid and fear, it keeps us from so many things. People hear that fear is false evidence appearing real. And I think that what happens in the culture that we're in right now, because of history that we carry with us, of relationships gone bad, or relationships that we saw go bad, or relationships we heard go bad, like we really have these inhibitions about opening ourselves up and being vulnerable and being honest with people that we don't really know very well. And it is a risk. And so, and I think it's a risk worth taking, because if I had said, well, Hope is one of those woo-woo people, and I basically shut the door on our relationship, then I would not have I